Hey guys, welcome back. I'm David Long and this is the Mountain Man. Hey guys, today I want to talk about 5 traits of a mountain man, 5 core traits of a mountain man. And guys, I'm going to throw these out there. They're kind of challenging. This is going to be a little heavier lifting than some. And guys, if these traits don't resonate with you, then I want to put this in the context of 5 challenges to become a mountain man, okay? So that's the focus today, the 5 traits of a mountain man. Let's do this. All right, guys, under the heading of the 5 traits of a mountain man, the first trait is that they understand that darkness emerges when good men stand down. Now, you've heard that famous Edmund Burke quote, the only thing necessary for evil to arise in the world is for enough good men to do nothing. And I know that's a loose paraphrase, but you remember the quote. And I want to share with you another quote, a couple quotes here. John MacArthur's a Bible teacher on the West Coast. I don't know that he really usually gets into cultural issues, but this is a profound couple quotes that he's got here. And he says this about men. He says, evil abounds everywhere, but how men respond to its presence, not women, although that's true too, but here he's focusing on how men respond to its presence, determines their survival and well-being of that society. And then he goes on to quote a psychologist he doesn't mention. I can't give the guy credit, wish I could. But this is the psychologist's quote. He says, masculinity is taking responsibility to reduce evil and produce good. And then MacArthur goes on to say, no culture will ever rise above the character of its men. So guys, the first trait of a mountain man is that he recognizes that darkness emerges when good men stand down, okay? So if you see a crisis in the American culture, it's a crisis in American manhood. If darkness is emerging, if evil is emerging, if bad things are happening in our culture and they're not being resisted, they're not being pushed back, it's because there's not enough good men. And of course, that's a whole underlying idea behind the mountain men, is to foster a movement of great men, of good men. Number 2, the trait of a mountain man, the number 2 trait of a mountain man is they're willing to recognize that they personally have a role to play in bringing good to their world and reducing evil. So this isn't just, what other people need to do. Yeah, somebody should do something. Well, gentlemen, that someone is me, and that someone is you. Gentlemen, if enough of us don't do something good, good won't happen. So that you need to take that challenge personally. Number 3, a mountain man is willing to get trained. He's willing to get equipped. He's willing to make a commitment. He's willing to make a sacrifice. He's willing to take on the challenge. So that's the 3rd trait. And if that's not something you're willing to do, then I want to throw that out as a challenge. I want to challenge you to be willing to be equipped. I don't care what station of life you're in. I don't care what age you're at. I don't care if you're, as I often say, I don't care if you're 14 to 74 or anywhere in between. I want to challenge you to be willing to be equipped to climb some mountains, which is to say ascend those 7 spheres of culture. And that's really the whole basis of what we're talking about here in the Mountain Men. Number 4, they recognize that it's going to take sacrifice. Now, some men willingly are kind of willing to pay that price. Other men have to be challenged. So again, if that's not where you're at right now, that's fine. Hang in here with the Mountain Men, but be looking at the idea that the idea of paying a price needs to be called up in men, that they need to be willing to sacrifice for the better good of the culture, for their families, and for their progeny, certainly, and for future generations. And number 5, they're willing to take that first step, whatever that first step might be. So I want to leave you with this idea today. A few days ago, you may have seen the headline. This is mid-October here, 2021, where on a Philadelphia commuter train, a woman was raped in broad daylight right on the train. And that was incredibly devilish, demonic, whatever. But you know what was even worse in my mind is that all the bystanders stood by, half of which were men, and they did nothing. That's the day we live in, and that's not the first time we've heard that story recently. And the stories abound on so many levels. I could tell you news headline after news headline over the last 5 or 6 months, where good people, or maybe not good people, but people stood by, including men stood by and did nothing in the face of evil. So guys, I want to challenge you, if these traits resonate with your heart, then would you do me a favor? Would you subscribe to this channel? Would you certainly hit the notification button? But would you do me a big favor too? Would you share this with the guys in your world, with your men's group, with your brothers, with your father, with your sons, with the guys at work, the guys in your network, guys on Facebook? Share this if you could for me, and let's help build momentum. We need to see an emergence of mountain men, men willing to pay the price to get trained and get equipped and to ascend those 7 mountains of culture and bring the good, okay? So guys, hey, thanks for hanging out with me today. I'm David Long. This is the Mountain Men. I'll see you in the next video.